Students, let's begin with the third chapter from your economics book of grade 10. And the name of the chapter is labor. So, this is the second factor of production. As we have done in the first chapter, that there are four factors of production: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship, or often nowadays it's pronounced as entrepreneurships. So, this is the second factor of production. This is labor. So, first we need to understand labor is an active factor of production. But the first factor, that is land, that was a passive factor, which means land itself cannot produce anything by its own. That is passive factor. But labor is an active factor. Labors can produce by its own. Okay, we are having the ability, we are having the ability power, or you can say human effort is there, which helps in advancing or changing any kind of natural resources found in the nature. We can change it and then utilize it. So what is the meaning of labor? According to Alfred Marshall, two kinds of labor are there. One is mental labor and the other is physical labor. Okay, Alfred Marshall have done this division, and broadly it's accepted by every economist that yes, labor is of two kinds. One is a mental labor and the other is a physical labor. So you can see in the next page the definition is given. The labor is by labor is meant the economic work of man, whether with the hand or by the head, as said by Marshall. Okay, this is widely accepted. Now there are different types of labor. Okay, basically we are going to compare and then we are going to understand based on the type of work done. Okay, one is a physical labor, other is a mental labor. So here we can say physical labor is that where the physical strength is dealt, physical strength is being applied in that kind of job. For example, maybe a rickshaw puller, maybe a weaver. Okay, all these are the physical labors. And mental labor is that where the intellectual part, the brain is being utilized, like the doctors, the teachers. They are the good examples of mental labor. Okay, next we are having labor based on skill development, how much skilled that person is. Okay, how much ability or you can say experience that person is having. So next division we can say skilled labor, semi-skilled labor, unskilled labor. Skilled laborers are those who are specialized and they are trained, they are having knowledge, they are having experience, they can use the machines and they know their job. Okay, they are experienced, they already know it, they are trained, so they are skilled laborers. Unskilled laborers are just the opposite one. They are not trained, they are not having any kind of special skill, they don't know how to use the technologies. They have to be guided by somebody. They do this and this work, they'll just follow the instruction and do the work and then go back. Okay, then we are having semi-skilled. Semi-skilled means they are not fully trained, they are not fully unskilled. Okay, somewhere between the skilled and unskilled, that means they are half trained. They have the ability to listen the instruction and cope up with it. They know how to operate the machines, but they have to be instructed, and moreover they are half trained. Okay, they are having half training in their field. This is called as semi-skilled. Next we are having professional labor, administrative labor. Professional laborers are the persons those who go under advanced study or training. Okay, they are undergoing a training for a long period of time. Okay, like the doctors, they are studying MBBS, and after that they are choosing being a doctor is their profession, right? For example, somebody wants to become a lawyer, have to undergo the study of LLB. This is a professional labor. Okay, where they are undergoing a particular training in order to opt for that profession. Administrative labor. Administrative laborers are those who have the ability. They are also having special training, they are also trained, and they are having capability, or you can say they are having the ability to supervise and direct okay, to supervise and direct the workers which are working under them. Okay, these are called the administrative labors. For example, the managers, general managers, okay, principal, you can say these are the administrative heads. Next, we are having productive labor and unproductive labor. I'll give you an example, you'll understand it very clearly. That is, suppose a writer is writing a book. A writer is writing a book and he thinks that this is going to get published. Okay, if it is published, that is a productive labor, and if it is not published, it is the unproductive labor. That means labor, in order to, means whenever we are doing its physical or mental labor, we are doing in order to get or create something, in order to get something, get some product or some output from it, or create some new material from it. That is a productive labor. Unproductive labors are those which are not at all having any kind of utility. Okay, we are not getting any kind of return from it. This is unproductive. Next, we are having employed labor and unemployed labor. Employed labor which is actually engaged with the process of production in employed labor is employed labor. And unemployed labor which is not capable of exerting physical or mental effort but is not actually engaged in production of any goods or provide any services. So employed labor means those are having the job, simple. Unemployed means they are not having the job. Okay, unemployed labor. Next, we are having wage labor and non-wage labor. Wage laborers are those which are hired, means the workers who are hired on a fixed wage. This is wage labor, like the workers in a factory. And non-wage laborers are those are not having any fixed wage every day. Okay, they are self-employed, like the doctors, the lawyers. If somebody will approach to them, then only they will get some money, right? Otherwise they are not going to get any kind of particular wage from anybody. Next, we are having characteristics of labor. What are the characteristics? The labor or worker and his labor are inseparable. This means somebody is sitting in home and thinking that the work will be done somewhere else. It is not always possible. It is not always possible to work, separate the work from the laborer. Okay, the laborer has to be present at that particular place in order to do its work. This is a general concept. And next, labor is perishable. Labor is perishable means, suppose the person who is at the age of 20, will the way the person will be working at the age of 20, the same person will not be able to work in the same manner. Same amount of effort or physical labor or mental labor cannot be produced by that person at the age of 60. Right, so labor is perishable. Perishable means slowly it is diminishing. The labor's ability is decreasing. Next, we are having labor is an active factor of production. Already I have explained this to you. The laborer sells his service, labor only. This means whenever a laborer is going to a work or doing a work, maybe a physical or a mental work, that time both, they are selling their service only at for that particular time period. This doesn't mean that the laborer is going to be slave for that institution. Okay, the laborer is selling his or her service only for a particular time. Okay, where the labor is agreeing with the employer. Yes, for 5 hours I'll work, this much money I'll take. They're agreeing both. The labor is also agreeing, the employer is also agreeing. That's why the selling is happening in the market. Next, labor has a typical nature of supply. This means that you can say where the population is more, the labor supply is more. Where the population is less, the labor is also less. As the labor is also increasing, the salary or the wage decreases. And as the labor supply decreases, the wage increases. And actually the wage is the only factor which determines the supply of labor. you can say we'll get a backward bending uh, supply curve if we draw in context of India. Next we are having supply of labor change slowly. Supply of labor of a particular country cannot just change within a day or suddenly like that, because in if you can count the total population, the entire population is not based on labor, because we are having the small childrens also, and we're having few sections which are not involved with the daily earnings, right? So we can say that supply of labor change slowly in the society, because the small kids needs to grow up slowly, and then we will get those young generation as the laborers after many, like after 18 years we are going to get that. So labor supply changes slowly. Okay, labor is less mobile because as a modern timing is there now, mobility have increased, now the transport system have increased, but moreover we have a mindset of first to find a work somewhere around our locality, somewhere around our house, and then we try to find something outside the state, then outside the nation. So we directly don't feel like going or moving outside the local area like that. So here they are trying to say us that labor is less mobile. Okay, labor has low bargaining power. This means that whenever there is a high population, the wage, whatever is given by the employer, is accepted by the labor. So the labor cannot bargain in this factor. Okay, because here the labor supply is much more for that. The usually the laborers don't have the bargaining power. Next, we are having entrepreneurship. You can say entrepreneurship is a special kind of labor because that is also a mental labor. Okay, and who is an entrepreneur or entrepreneur? These are the persons who are bearing the risk. It can be one single person or it can be a group of few, because they are just investing their money or capital, then investing their capital and bearing the risk. Whatever profit, if there is a profit, they are going to take the profit. If it is loss, they are going to bear the loss. So you can say the entire pressure and the organization and whatever the work, whatever policies and how they are going to work, they are going to organize everything for that particular company. So entrepreneurs are also a special kind of labor. They are the leaders of that particular company. Supply of labor in an economy, as I was telling you, the population determines the supply. As the population is more, the supply is more. If the population is less, the supply is less. Out migration and in migration, if some people leave the country, the total population goes down. Whenever they are leaving for a certain reason, that is a living. Suppose from India, few persons are going to Canada. Okay, that means that is out migration for Indians. Okay, and suppose in migration means from Canada few people are coming to India for their work. This is in migration. Age structure is also very much a determinant factor of labor supply, because the supply of labor depends not much on the total population and on the age structure of the population. How much the population and are in the working age group, this is the question. That means if a country is having more of children or more of old age people, then that country is not having more labor. Okay, so what is the age of the labor group? That is 15 to 59. This is the perfect age. Next we are having number of able bodied person. This means the state of health. Okay, that means how much the physical strength is there. If there is poor health facility in a country, then the people will be suffering from many diseases. That time we will not get any labor in supply. Okay, then wage rate is also one of the very important factor. If wage rate is not proper in a country, we don't get proper labor supply. That time laborers will tend to go outside the nation and work there. Government regulations are also very much important, because government regulations have been applied, the working hours, non-working hours, salary for the skilled laborers, unskilled laborers, everything is already stated, though it is not being followed. But again, we cannot claim that it's not being followed, but it's not being followed by few, we must say like this. And then also government regulations are there and it is being applied. Wage rate is again a very important factor. If the wage rate is not proper, as I told you, the laborers will leave the country and go to some other place. Efficiency of the workers, if each worker becomes more efficient, knows how to use the modern technologies, okay, and if they are capable of working more actively, then the production will also increase.